So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, my young folks. I miss you. I wish, things were a little bit different, but we're going to make the best of it. And in doing that, based on the environment that we're in now, as far as the law is concerned, I felt it made sense for me to teach you some lessons about juvenile law. How does juvenile law apply to you? What are some of the standards that the state of New Jersey adheres to when it comes to juveniles? So the first thing I want you to get an understanding of is the term juvenile. What is a juvenile? Well, the term juvenile means a young person. So the question would be, how old is a juvenile? Well, the state of New Jersey considers a juvenile to be a young person between the ages of 10 and 17, right? 10 and 17 years old. So the question should be, should a juvenile be charged the same as an adult? Think about that. If I am 46 years old and I decide I'm going to steal a car, 46, turn around, you have a 15-year-old kid, he decides to steal a car. Should that 15-year-old juvenile be punished the same way as a 46-year-old adult? So let's have a little conversation into that. We're going to go into the history of juvenile law. How did juvenile law essentially begin? Well, back before the American Revolution, what we know now as the United States was then seen as the 13 colonies, all right? Then the 13 colonies followed English common law when it came to criminal justice. And in the English common law, they saw the juvenile and the adult as one and the same. They punished them without discernment, without any difference. All right? In 1646, the Puritans in Boston, they created a law which was called the Stubborn Child Act. You can look that up. The Stubborn Child Act. And within that, it said any juvenile, young person between the ages of 10 and 17, any of them that exhibited disobedient behavior, bad behavior, not listening to mom and dad like some of us do, any of us at that point, if we were not listening to our parents, would be charged with a crime that was considered a capital offense. Now, during that time, a capital offense was punishable up to death. Death. It's a bad thing. But as time went on, in the late 1800s, society stopped and they thought about it and they said, we need to put these juveniles into a better situation. So they created the juvenile justice system. And it said it's better to rehabilitate a delinquent juvenile than to punish him. Now, these are big words. So let's go through these words together. All right? Rehabilitate. Some of the guys in the class, they watch sports, or some of the young ladies might watch track or something like that, and they see their favorite athlete and they get hurt. The term rehabilitate means to restore something or someone to its original intended purpose. That means to fix them to how they were intended to be. All right? Rehabilitate is to take something that's broken and fix it like it was intended to work. So now, the word delinquent. Delinquent means a young juvenile who is exhibiting or showing bad behavior. He's doing bad things. He's committing crimes. He's not going to school. He's not following a curfew. So you talk about specifically rehabilitating juvenile delinquents, taking those young people and fixing them to improve their behavior. The thought, the idea of the juvenile justice system is to rehabilitate juvenile delinquents instead of punishing them. Well, the first juvenile justice court was created in 1899 in Cook County, Illinois, Chicago. And the concept, the theory of that court was specifically to rehabilitate juvenile delinquents, to make them have a situation, whether it's putting them in reform school, whether it's giving them some type of mentor, some type of program, to help them become the juveniles that they were intended to be, so they could be a positive influence on society. Now we're going to stop here. We're going to put a pin in this, and I'm going to tell you a story. All right? You guys used to love my stories. I hope you still do. Now, most of you know that I used to be a police officer. All right? One of the units that I worked for as a police officer was the Auto Theft Task Force, which means it was our job to get people who had stolen cars, chase them down, whatever the case may be, and put them in custody. This is a true story, I'm going to tell you. One particular Wednesday, we get a call. There's a car driving around. The car's been reported stolen. So we got to go chase this car. I'm going to be honest with you. The occupant, the person who was driving the car, was a juvenile. He's 14 years old. It took 4 of us, 4 two-man units, to catch this juvenile, because he was fantastic at driving. I guess he must have played Grand Theft Auto or something like that, but he was a professional at 14. We couldn't catch him. So eventually he crashes into a tree. The door gets pinned. We jump out, catch him. Okay? Now, as these lessons go further, I'll explain to you the process that he had to go through. We didn't take him to the police station. We had to take him to the juvenile detention facility. This is a Wednesday night. Drop him off at the juvenile detention facility, go on about our day. That was a Wednesday. The following Tuesday, get another call. Cars being driven erratically in a park, okay, a particular park. So we are dispatched to that park. It was 4 of us again, 4 units again, chasing after this young boy, right? Young juvenile. Boy's driving on the grass and doing all kinds of stuff, and it's making us look crazy. Okay. Again, he must have had the latest version of GTA, Grand Theft Auto, whatever the case may be. This time, he crashes into one of the lions. It's a statue, a concrete lion. He crashes into it. We're able to catch him. Get up to the door. I'm the first person at the door. Grab him. It is the same juvenile. The same juvenile that we had just arrested that previous Wednesday. So the question could be posed. If the juvenile court has the concept or a theory that they are not going to punish juvenile delinquents, they are going to try to rehabilitate him, fix them, put them in their original form, get them to act the way that we think they should act, so they can be viable contributors to our society. If the juvenile already understands that he's not going to be punished, does that give the juvenile the temperament that he can continue to do this over and over because he knows he's not going to get punished seriously? Could be. I want you, if you take nothing away from this lesson, I want you to understand the concept or theory of the juvenile justice system is to rehabilitate juvenile delinquents, to fix these juveniles who have a bad behavior, who have a history of doing negative things, and then to get them to be viable parts of the community, right? Now, further on, when we go further down, we'll talk about a juvenile. AC, I can't, if I'm a juvenile, then I can never be charged as an adult. That's not true. It's not true. We're talking about jurisdictions waiving their ability to charge, meaning to take a juvenile and wave him up to an adult court, charge him like an adult, but we'll get to that, right? So that's the end of lesson 1. I'm gonna see you guys in a hot second. I'm gonna come back and we're gonna start with lesson 2. All right?